everybody, how are you? Welcome back to What's Up with NASCAR. I know I took a little break from uploading our videos because I didn't upload my good old-fashioned Radio Angel Esports. I was going to show you my Indy road course setup, but hey, I'm going to move that to tomorrow, so haha, doesn't matter. Anyways, today I'm being joined by Maxwell Fay. Hello, man.
Great to be back here. Hope everyone's having a great night. Let's just get on with the show.
Oh yeah, and we're gonna get with the show with one of the amazing things that happened in the truck race at IRP, with John Hunter Nemechek absolutely doing a Kyle Busch on Dale Jr. If you have any memories from Richmond in 2008, that was
definitely that was
an amazing moment. And here it is on the screen.
Here, yeah, you just see Nemechek. No prisoners.
Yeah.
Takes out Taylor Gray. You can see the frustration. However, we did see this as well with Carson Hocevar. We saw him right rear someone in frustration, which you shouldn't really be doing that at a short track, because that just shows how bad your temper is, pretty much.
Yeah, and especially around this track, like for example, you don't get this feeling at other tracks that aren't in the NASCAR schedule, for exception of Bowman Gray. But hey, we can see the replay over here. He clearly puts the bumper on him,
pretty much
dumps him into turn 3.
Was it worth it? Not really. It was just over aggressive racing by John Hunter.
Yeah, but hey, we can all say that karma exists, and that was no exception of it.
Other than,
he would end up losing the race anyways.
Yeah. Also, as well as on Fox Sports, his camera work was so bad they couldn't even find Wallace Allen wrecking it. A fan actually had a way better shot of getting that actual wreck on the backstretch, because you could actually see the Fox cameraman, like, where'd the car wreck? Where is it? Like, you gotta be kidding me.
Oh yeah. And now it's time for a day with tragedy for some drivers already after round 1 of the playoffs.
And a big upset, especially as Grant Enfinger was the race winner. He, I wouldn't say had the best truck all race long. I would give that to Ty Majeski. He had a huge dominant truck, but Grant Enfinger, out of all the drivers, hats off to GMS finally pulling one out of the bag.
Oh yeah, he does. And of course, we have some tragedy over here as two drivers, Matt Crafton and Christian Eckes, are already out behind the cut line, so they are putting themselves behind the 8 ball really quickly, man.
Easily. ThorSport is struggling early on in this round. They're going to have to make up for it, though, at Richmond. That's all I'm going to say, though.
Yeah, the only driver in the playoffs that is ThorSport related is Ben Rhodes, and as we can see, only 3 manufacturers that weren't Toyota qualified.
You mean
2 Chevys and 1 Ford.
We have 2 ThorSports that are in the good, Ty Majeski and Ben Rhodes.
Yeah, and of course, most of the drivers in the playoffs are Toyota.
Oh yeah, that's what I was also really like. Zane Smith being the only Ford, and Grant Enfinger, and I can't remember who else. He might be the only Chevy in that thing, because literally ThorSport had the entire. They grabbed 4 out of the 10 spots. Stuart Friesen with his TRD equipment, Chandler Smith. So that pretty much narrows it down. Oh, the Carson Hocevar.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah,
and during the Xfinity race on Saturday, we had a little bit of a snoozer, if you can relate about it.
I mean, I watched the replays and I could see why it was a huge snoozer. Even though AJ Allmendinger drove a great race and he dominated.
Yeah, ironically, Allmendinger won this race, and he looked pretty good from the start. I mean, you can agree with me, that's a pretty decent start for a race. No matter where the circumstances are, it was a pretty good start. But of course, during the race we had some troubles, some issues. Like, for example, here with Anthony Alfredo. What the heck happened to him? He literally lost it entering turn one. And that is a huge problem that we saw not only with the Xfinity Series, but also with the Cup Series.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Drivers were getting loose because they're like when you're downshifting, there's like you have no grip.
Yeah. And here's what happened between Sage and Noah.
It really Herbst goes around.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that 9 car.
Or is that Ty Gibbs? I can't even tell because it's so tiny.
I think it was Riley. Yeah, it was Riley. But hey, the luck favors the prepared, as AJ Allmendinger was not only a good driver to be prepared for this race, but it was also a dominator throughout the race.
Oh, definitely. And hats off to DGM, especially with Ross Chastain getting the top 5 and SS Greenlight having Chase Briscoe drive the 07 for that race, getting a good finish out of that as well.
Yeah, it was a pretty good one. And as well, Alex Bowman finishing in second place behind the 16 of Allmendinger, which is a pretty good run for the return of Hendrick Motorsports as its own brand to the Xfinity Series. We've seen a lot of Hendrick re-enter Xfinity. I know they've been replaced by Junior Motorsport, but it could be a sign that Rick Hendrick wants Xfinity racing back.
Oh, a huge sign, definitely. I mean, after the whole unfortunate 2004 plane crash, losing his son Ricky Hendrick, I think that's the huge urge to drive that whole entire organization's future to focus on prospects for the Xfinity Series. Doesn't mean yet they're going to go to a truck team, but it's a great start that they want to come back to the Xfinity Series and be competitive once again.
Yeah. And when now 6 races before the Xfinity playoffs, and the focus right now is in between the drivers that are in and that are not. If we take a look, only 7 drivers are in due to wins.
Yeah, it's really interesting how you have some of the guys like Ryan Sieg. After having a bunch of bad races, he pulls off a couple good. He pulls off a few great. He has a great New Hampshire before getting completely junked, which those playoff points did help him. However, I didn't really know where he finished for the Indy Road Course, so not to go on that. But more surprisingly, Sheldon Creed has not been having that big of a season in the Xfinity Series. I get it; he's a rookie. I get it; he's a rookie and all, but still, he's got a lot of time left to develop, but he's going to get up there. But it's just been a very quiet, unfortunate season, and the 2 hasn't made that much noise as I thought he would have.
Yeah, and it looks like if the trend continues, he's right now 50 points behind the cut line. If nothing changes, then that means that Mr. Sheldon might be heading to a must-win situation to get into the Xfinity playoffs.
I mean, it could be up. It's anyone's game, literally, especially for Daytona.
Oh yeah,
when we get to that race,
that was gonna be a crash fest for all I can know.
Yeah, I won't be surprised either.
Yeah, and from Xfinity we move on to the Cup race, and most people thinking that it was a clown show on the finish.
Oh, it was a big clown show on the restarts as well. It was like we had so many on these green flag restarts and regular. I mean, you can just tell it by that.
Yeah, you can already tell from Justin Haley that this race was going to be filled with clowns. Or as I can say it, Maldonados.
Oh, yes.
And here's one of the things that happened over here. Oh, it was between the 17, the 23, and the 1. Ross Chastain got the worst of it. And then while we were on the backstretch, Hamlin decided to lose it.
Yep. I was like 11 self-spin. Where have I seen this before?
Yeah. Where have we seen that before? And this was only stage 1, and we see
Oh yeah,
another wreck.
and there goes Joey Hand.
And Chastain again.
Yep.
And keep in mind Chastain as
The
we
fact
keep mentioning him
the
throughout
fact
the
that
race.
Stenhouse managed to survive that race without wrecking the car is beyond bonkers.
Yeah, that's really beyond bunkers. Here's the elbow, so that Joey Hand and Ross Chastain took in the
Ross
turn
just
1.
dove it in real deep. He thought he could stick it, but instead he just took himself out. And poor Joey Hand, who was
And then
running a great race.
And then for Keselowski, he literally lost it.
Yeah, Keselowski had a really bad race for that one. He and Buescher both had a really bad race, but they were both able actually to rebound. Buescher ended up getting a top 10 out of this whole fiasco.
And then while we were on the pit stops,
the Buescher, smoke in the cockpit.
It was in the cracker box. Yeah, it was inside the cracker box that started the smoke. At first, when I saw it, I thought it was electrical fire. And we have to believe.
I have the same assumption as well. I wasn't sure what it was because with this whole new next gen car, for when it comes to electrical fires, it could be anything. It could be terminal or it could be just non-terminal.
Yeah, and of course, Chase Briscoe took stage 1 without any problems or incidents affecting him throughout the run. And we're gonna have us some ads. Goddamn it. So yeah, from the first stage, we can already say that. Well, it was gonna be a wild one, sure, but we didn't know how wild it was gonna be until we saw it by ourselves. And as we returned racing, we managed to make it clean until turn 2.
Harvick. Yeah, until Harvick dumped. And then gets hit. And then got hit by who knows what. I can't remember who he got hit by.
Yeah. Chase was in the grass.
I'll just say Harvick had a really bad race that week.
I remember watching this race while on a stream on Discord, and they said that Harvick did the funny. And there is Allmendinger on the sand pit.
As well as there's Harrison Burton and Cole Custer. They got into each other. Custer, I guess, wanted to take the other access route.
There it is for Allmendinger. He just lost it.
Yeah, he just lost it.
And
why did they put Almirola and Florison on that?
That's what happens.
NBC in a nutshell.
Yeah, and here's what Harrison did. He thought he could do it.
He thought he could outbrake.
Yeah, but he just had a NASCAR heat moment.
Oh, definitely, yeah. That's what happens.
Yeah.
Thing though is that Burton was able to rebound to a top 5, so I mean.
Yeah, that was the best of him. And Allmendinger throughout this race, we're going to keep it in mind. As he is battling with Chase Elliott, he's starting to realize, he doesn't know to realize that he was starting to run out of water. And I don't mean like water in the engine. I mean like physical liquid that you take for your vitamins. And of course, Christopher Bell, he won the stage thanks to pit stops. And then we get into
strategy, pretty much. They played a really good strategy, and they did a really fantastic job with that strategy.
And then we head to the restart. And we see a lot of 4-5 widening into turn 1, which normally doesn't work.
You see people are already on the curbs. They're going off the course. They're either going to get punted.
At least for this restart, we made it clean. I think this was the cleanest restart we had.
Pretty much it was. This was the best restart we had for clean.
Yeah, and throughout the race, we saw this incredible battle with Christopher Bell and Tyler Reddick that almost made everyone forget about the horrendous problems of turn 1 that we saw throughout the day. And hey, we say almost because, as we all know it didn't matter because we then had this moment in stage 3.
And I'm so puzzled on how this even all happened because as you're going to watch this, you're going to be like, what? And, huh?
Yeah. And right now in this clip, the only thing that we are seeing is Tyler Reddick trying to run himself down towards the leader. But then as we head closer into the clip, you might say, what just happened? And it is
And
here with
that's,
Ty Dillon and Kyle Larson.
Dillon sustained heavy right side damage. And you're going to look at Larson's car and be like, what? How did that even happen?
And then there you see the damage to the driver's side over here. It just compacted, but not as much as
Oh,
Dillon's
definitely.
passenger side.
I mean, that car lost its, like, the right side window. I'm like, geez Louises. I still even, like, good.
I even screamed in pain when I saw this. So there it is, Larson.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I was like, I hope Dillon's all right from that hit, because I'm like, that was a hard hit. Because these
Yeah.
next gen cars have proven that they can injure people. I mean, we've already seen like Kurt Busch, practice crash. He has a concussion, and he won't be in the car for until we know when.
It actually happened during qualifying for Pocono.
Well, yeah.
And
And according to like, it was like Larson's throttle hung, and the brakes weren't working. But if it was the throttle was hung.
yeah, probably the throttle hung. Some of the problems that we saw with
Yep, and
NASCAR
then
2000, and there's Christopher Bell. He had the race in the bag. I mean, he was a pretty good contender for the race
until
that.
this one little tap with the wall, and he blows a tire, and that's also because they tried to play the strategy. They tried to stay out on old tires, and that's what happens when your strategy doesn't work.
And here's the tire. Look how he just shredded.
Oh, and that whole
whole
entire like
wheelbase.
right side like is gone. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And then we see this restart. This was the 3 laps to go. This was hopefully to be the final restart of this race. It looks pretty normal until you see Logano over here.
Make it 5 wide. What are you doing, Logano?
And there it is. 2 spin outs, 3 people in the grass, 4, 5 people in the grass. And then we see the stupidest moment for some nice, compact life on the fast lane. Austin Dillon spins it, and he's stuck. No wonder why the show has the ratings, the horrible ratings on USA Network that it has right now.
I mean, yeah, no kidding, because this is just a shit show entirely.
Yeah, and there's Austin. Yep, there it is. Full course yellow. 5th caution, which would end up being the last caution of the race. And there you see Austin Dillon. He's stuck in the sand pit.
Yeah, pretty much caught in the sand pit.
Yeah, and here's a replay. 5 wide into turn 1. Chase Elliott spins by himself.
The fact that Kyle Busch got spun actually kind of, I felt it kind of funny how he's gonna punch. He was like, come on, Kyle, go punch Logano.
Yeah, he was punted by Chase Briscoe and Wallace. And then we see over here Eric Jones trying to play the funny.
Yeah, he tried to get some grip on the outside, but he just lost it completely. And then Dillon also got out of shape in the same time.
And Austin Dillon pretty much had what we call a controller disconnected moment. And then we see in the overtime restart, as we're going to ads again. Come on. Gotta be kidding me. Why does this have to happen? Maybe I should buy YouTube Premium. I don't know. But anyways, like I was saying, look at this move by the one of Ross Chastain.
Yeah, I was like, did he even stop?
And Austin Dillon did it as well. And then we see Blaney getting spun out again, and I was like, oh, we're going to go through another full course yellow.
Nope. And instead, nope, we wouldn't, but this would be the battle. However, Ross not stop. I was like, did he stop? Because I'm like, if he did stop, that was legal, but I don't think he stopped because he cut
And
that entire.
and it wasn't until this moment he disappears from the top 20 as he was black flagged by NASCAR for advancing his position through the access road. And it was like it was basically a Formula One moment where you have a guy who cuts a corner, and then he gets a half white, half black flag for his shameless actions.
Yeah, for corner cutting.
Yeah, too bad Jeff wasn't here. And it was a very controversial way to end this race. I mean, he thinks he's battling for second. Even the ticker shows him. He's right there with Cindric trying to hold on to second, but no matter what, it was not going to matter because right now Tyler Reddick, in what I call the road course championship of NASCAR, he gets the lead on top of the road course standings and wins the Verizon 200, aka the Clown Race.
And that was a clown race. That was literally one of the dumbest races I've ever watched for road course racing. It makes me still wonder how and why, why NASCAR wants to run the road course instead of the oval. Because with this new next gen, I feel like they can get better racing with the Indianapolis oval. Even better, just bring the Xfinity series back to IRP. Because that racing with the trucks showed so much great potential as well as nostalgia easily.
Yeah, I mean, not only for the nostalgia, but also for the great racing product. Or you can either do that, or just go ahead and put yourself back on the oval. And we're not gonna take a look at the standings, but with four races to go, I think it's pretty much settled who's gonna be in and who's gonna be out.
Oh, definitely, yeah. That's a especially this was a bad race for Harvick, and this is going to put him in like a must win almost situation.
Yeah. Already two drivers that are not locked in off of wins, Ryan Blaney and Martin Truex Jr. But then we see Harvick, Almirola, Jones, and Bubba Wallace, who joins the conversation. They are away by a long shot. So if Harvick and Almirola want to get in, they'll most than likely will have to get a miracle or something.
Easily.
But one of the biggest controversies that happened after the race was Allmendinger getting blacked out. And if you don't know, getting blacked out in any form of motorsport is horrific. We saw with Nigel Mansell in the Dallas Grand Prix of the 1980s. Here it is, getting out of the car, and he just collapses.
Yeah, you can see he can barely stand. He's on his and then they get towels, water, ice, and then he takes off his fire suit actually because he was actually seen walking bare chested to the infield center, according to one of the news reporters.
And to say that all happened while Tyler Reddick was celebrating his second career win in the Cup Series. Not only weird, but also pretty unfortunate. And while unfortunate, we sure didn't have the best from Daniel Kvyat, but this could be the start of a brand new relationship for the Russian driver with NASCAR.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Kvyat did a great job driving for Rayom Hesman that entire weekend. I mean, they just ran a solid race until they had I can't remember what they had. I think they had an electrical issue, but then they came back in the race. But with Hesman, he dropped out of the race, I guess, because they just wanted to park one of the cars. But Kvyat, I think he did finish the race.
Yeah, he did.
But he was just very it was just a
Mhm. Oh, oh, there it goes. He's out. Well, anyways, well that happened. We're gonna get into some other news that has happened in
Because I was
NASCAR
like,
world. Oh shit! You you just blacked out. Oh, and he's out again. Something doesn't miss the Maxwell's communication. I don't know. Should we have a like a
there we go.
technical?
I
There you
had a
go.
lag. Yeah, I had a little
Yeah,
lag.
yeah. So for Daniel Kvyat, I mean, he's competed in Formula One.
Yep.
He's competed now in NASCAR. All he needs to do is just make one start in an IndyCar, and that's it. He's completed everything.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And speaking of IndyCar, how about some more NASCAR Indy doubleheader? Because from the way we saw it, the IndyCar race proved to be a pretty good race for not only IndyCar but for the racing world as well. As we had a pretty exciting battle throughout this weekend. So, of course, there is some debate if we should keep the Indy NASCAR doubleheader.
I mean, it's a very big, like, if and like, yeah, big if question. If NASCAR and IndyCar want to do more double headers, especially if it's at Indianapolis, I'm up for it because it brings the fans all together. It brings fans there for the entire weekend.
And I even saw a story from Jimmy Johnson's Instagram. He took a picture of Alex Bowman's 48 car and he said, "Hello, old friend." And of course, the next race for the IndyCar season is going to be the chaotic Nashville Grand Prix. Oh my god!
Count on Marcus Ericsson probably winning that race.
Yeah, well, let's hope that Jimmy Johnson doesn't wreck himself like he did last year.
Yeah.
And while things continue to ease out throughout the season, it has already been announced today that Kurt Busch is still on the sidelines.
Yeah, at this point, I'm kind of getting a little worried. It's kind of like the whole Dale Jr. thing with 2016 because this is just very big.
Yeah, I mean, true. They have been very, very vague on the conversation. He hasn't been in a race car since his qualifying crash at Pocono, and it looks to me that in the upcoming races, they're going to put a lot more emphasis on Ty Gibbs finishing the season. And oh, he's out again. Oh my goodness.
Maybe I did.
Oh, there you are. So, like I was saying,
Yeah,
probably.
I'm having trouble connecting.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna have to leave anyways.
Yeah. I mean, we're about to finish anyways. So there is some talks about Kurt Busch not returning. I mean, he even posted a tweet with a little message, and he pretty much states that he is not returning to Michigan.
Yeah, when you're out 3 races because of a concussion, this is kind of like, as I stated before, this is just, I know, like your health is more important than your racing career, but this is just a huge sign of this is like the end of Kurt Busch as a driver, most likely.
Yeah, and there's even a video stating if this is the end for him because remember at the start of the season he was teasing about possibly retiring from the NASCAR Cup competition. But I don't know, this could be a little weird. And for the final story of today's race is going to be Austin Hill making his Michigan Cup debut.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. He'll have Bennett for on board as a sponsor. The old 33 font, RCR font, is coming back. I'm excited. It's going to bring nostalgia, and it's going to bring in a path. It's going to be another new pathway for another future RCR driver to possibly join the Cup
Yeah.
Series. RCR development driver that'll join the Cup Series in the future.
Yeah. So for the moment, there has been, we've seen like, I think we have like over over 40 entries. No, we're going to see 37 entries for this race, including Austin Hill's 33 car. I'm taking a look at the official entry list board from NASCAR, and yes, for the moment it counts 37 entries, which means that there's 36 fully funded chartered ones and the filler one from Richard Childress.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Austin will do this week, though. I'm not expecting a lot, but I'm expecting at least maybe a top 25 or top 20.
Yeah. And also remember, guys, that this Friday we're gonna have some more What's Up with NASCAR, comparing all the edits of Dora Dolphin and her career as a young star for Nickelodeon. Some more news on Shakira's arrest, and a lot more stuff coming out of the way. And of course, we're gonna have a big day during Sunday, as I'm going to be hosting an IndyCar watch party for Nashville. This is going to be the first time I ever watch IndyCar live on YouTube. I mean, even before this, Maxwell, I didn't start seeing IndyCar until last year when Jimmy Johnson started to go for full time.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I didn't watch IndyCar that much is because I only watched it for the Indy 500, and that's it.
I was kind of like the same way. I started watching IndyCar in about 2014. I just watched the Indy 500, but then the first full season I watched was 2019.
Yeah, the first race I ever watched for the first IndyCar race I ever watched was the 2011 Indy 500. And I was so pissed at the finish at that time. I mean, sure, don't get me wrong. I'm happy that Dan Wheldon got his second and final Indy 500, but at the time, I was a little kid. I was so pissed.
J.R. Hildebrand.
Yeah. and he was driving a National Guard car.
Yep.
So as long as it concerns for me for these Formula One looking beasts to keep racing at ovals too hard, we're gonna have a pretty fantastic watch party. But of course, we'll still have some more What's Up with NASCAR from Michigan next Wednesday at the same time. So thank you, Maxwell, for joining me in today's stream. And thank you all in the audience for watching this as well. This was What's Up with NASCAR. He's the last NASCAR fan. I'm Radio Angel YM, and you made it to the next video. See ya.
Have a good one, guys.